Hi and good afternoon wherever you're watching from. My name is Anne and you're watching Anne's Stream. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for the support. For those who are watching for the first time, I welcome you to my channel. Keep watching. Let's keep learning together. And today I want to talk about conflict and conflict management or conflict resolution. And perhaps we could start by asking ourselves, what is conflict? And conflict is defined as the perceived incompatibility of interests, needs, or goals between two or more parties. In other words, we can say it is a struggle or clash between opposing forces. When one party feels that they have not been handled the way they are supposed to be handled, it is termed as a conflict. However, I would want to say that conflict is a necessary, healthy part of the organization. And I would say that conflict on the job usually represents the normal competitive urge, which is actually present in all individuals. And it is always the result of personality clashes. You know, when people of diverse backgrounds come together, like it happens in our workplaces, there tends to be conflicts. You know, even from where we are born, same mother, same father, but you'll find children have different personalities, and therefore they tend to clash. They tend to have conflicts quite often. So conflict is a primary source of stress on the job. But again, as I said, one of the benefits of conflict on the job is that it is sometimes produces or brings about useful change. Not always, but I would say that it does. It does bring positive change. So let's ask ourselves, why conflict? What are the causes of conflict at the workplace? And I would start with the common one, which is communication problems. When communication is ambiguous, when there is ambiguity in communication, it tends to bring about conflicts. When there are mixed messages during communication, you know, you are verbalizing one thing, yet your body language says something else. You know, that will bring about conflict. Lack of openness, you know, when we are not very clear on what is expected, then we expect conflict. Another thing that brings about conflict is goal incompatibility. And I would want to look at it from a perspective, for example, let's look at the sales team versus the credit team. When their goals are not compatible, like the credit team says this or feels that this is the way to go, and the sales team feels the opposite, then the outcome would always be conflict. Personality, and I think we've talked about this earlier. When someone with this personality differs with the other type because of their personality issues, you know, then the outcome is a conflict. Frustration also causes conflict at the workplace. We also know that introduction of change also causes conflict, you know. Change brings about conflict. When people are used to doing things in a way, and then we introduce a different way of doing things, then the outcome most of the times is conflict. We also have cultural influences. We come from diverse cultures, and so this can also bring about conflict in what we believe in. What are the symptoms of conflict? In other words, how do we tell, maybe in an organization or in a group or in a department, there is conflict? Number one, you'll find a lot of tension. And when there's tension, then work is not done properly. So you see, tension is bringing work not being done properly and other things, of course. Number two, we'll have, when people go for meetings and there are conflicts, what comes about is disastrous meetings. You've attended meetings whereby you come out and wish you never actually attended that meeting. We also have falling productivity. And I think falling productivity can come about because of all these other symptoms combined, the disastrous meetings, tension, work not being done properly. This will bring about falling productivity. We also do have accidents. People are walking and their minds are just thinking about this tension, this conflict. So someone ends up getting an accident because of that. We have also disagreements becoming more pronounced. Something, we form mountains out of a hill because of conflict. We tend to see anger occurring quickly and very easily. And sometimes it even brings about slamming of doors and shouting. And so all this bring about, as I said, low productivity. And so it is always good to address conflicts early enough to avoid the outcomes of conflicts. Let us look at the types of conflict. And we have two different types of conflict. One is functional conflict, and the other one is dysfunctional conflict. And as the name suggests, the functional conflict supports the goals of the group or the team. All the conflicting teams. And this one tends to improve its performance. Hence, the reason I said that it is not, conflict is not always good, neither is it always bad. Dysfunctional, this is the conflict that really hinders the group performance. So this is the negative part of the conflict. So, having talked about these few types of conflict and the symptoms and the causes, maybe we could look at the conflict resolution strategies. And we have about 5 conflict resolution strategies. And I'm going to take you through the 5 conflict resolution strategies. Number 1 is avoiding, which we call turtle characteristics. Number 2, we have the competing strategy attributed to the shark characteristics. Then we have the compromising strategy attributed to the fox characteristics. Number 4, we have the accommodating strategy. And this we attribute it to the teddy bear characteristics. And number 5, the last but not the least, is the collaborating strategy. And this is attributed to an owl. So, why am I talking about these animals, the turtles, the sharks, the fox, teddy bears, the owl. So I want to give you the characteristics that make it get attributed to that specific animal. And I would start with the teddy bear, which is the accommodating strategy. Why the teddy bear? You know, teddy bears tend to ignore their own goals and give in to others. This strategy tends to create a win-lose situation, whereby in this situation, it is the teddy bear that loses. So the teddy bear ignores their goals, and then they tend to give in to the other party's goals, creating a win-lose situation. But who is losing in this case? The teddy bear will lose. Let's look at the turtle. We all know this animal called turtle. When you get near it or when you touch it, it hibernates. It avoids. So we are calling it a turtle strategy because it avoids by withdrawing. You know, turtles would rather withdraw than solve the situation, than get a solution. They tend to give up personal goals and display. They tend to give up personal goals and display passive behavior. You know, and this one creates a lose-lose. You know, this character is a lose-lose. No one wins. Let us look at the sharks. I think because of the nature of the shark, you know, the shark is quite huge. The shark is very threatening. It is very intimidating. It is very authoritative. It is very autocratic. So when you talk about the shark, it uses the force or its intimidating characteristics, and they are highly goal-oriented. And the sharks tend to bring about the win-lose situation. But as opposed to the teddy bears, the shark here is the one that wins. So it will win and the other party must lose. You're seeing the difference. This one wants to win no matter what. And so they will intimidate, they will force, they will, use their intimidating characteristics and the threatening characteristics to make sure that they win, regardless of whatever the circumstances. Let us look at the fox. And the fox are, do I say they are a bit, as we said, the fox are compromising, They are compromising. They are willing to sacrifice some of their goals while they persuade the other party to also give up part of their goals. So the outcome will either be a win-win or a win-lose. So it is, they tend to persuade, they try to make the other party, could you please just, give up yours as I give up mine, so that we can come to some balance, either a win-lose or a lose-lose, but without any harm to any of the parties. What about the owls? The owl, we call it the collaborating characteristic or the collaborating resolution strategy. Owls tend to view conflicts as problems to be solved by both parties, by finding solutions agreeable to all, by looking at ways that this conflict can be solved, or this issue can be tackled so that all of us win, So it's a compromising strategy. And having talked about those 5 different animals or 5 strategies, maybe you can just ask yourself, out of the 5, what are you? Are you the turtle? Are you the owl? Are you the teddy bear? Are you the fox? Or are you the shark? But before we wind up, perhaps we could just tackle slightly on how to arrive at win-win outcomes. Because no matter what, the win-win situation always favors everyone, and it is for the good of the organization. And so it is good for us to look at the win-win outcomes and how to arrive at them. And for this to happen, you must understand, number 1, that you cannot have all the answers. If you do not understand the other question, the other person or the other party, ask questions to make sure that you understand that person. Be prepared to compromise or make a deal. Listen actively. Do more listening than talking, and you'll be able to understand. Empathize. Try to put yourself in the shoes of that other party, and also acknowledge their feelings. Try to see their point of view. Perhaps if you listen to them and empathize and even try to see their point of view, you'll be able to understand, and this can bring a win-win situation. Gain participation in everyone who is involved in this conflict. Deal with emotional issues. And I'll emphasize on this. Deal with the emotional issues first, and then you will be able to address the values and interests. Why am I saying this? Most of the times when we have values and interests are at the forefront, and your emotions are high, this cannot happen. There is no conflict or resolution. So I would encourage all of us to deal with our emotional issues before we even think of, now, what is the best value? What is the best interest to resolve this? This marks the end of our discussion today, and I hope you have learned something. If you have any comment, please put it down there. Let me understand. Let me know your comment. Let me know how you feel about all this. Keep on subscribing. Keep on sharing. Comment, and let's meet in my next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.